Today's question is one lifetime enough, or do you need longer to appreciate the richness of life? Wow. I think that no matter how many lifetimes you have, no matter how many years, there will never seem to be quite enough time left. That's the message of that song, Time in a Bottle. That great song by Jim Croce that ironically came out after he had died too young. It will never ever feel like you have enough time. And as soon as you figure out things that you want to spend your time doing, that time will suddenly get away from you. It will elude you. You will have to make the time for the things that you're particularly passionate about. And you'll think back on all those hours and days that you spent doing things that didn't really amount to very much and that you really could have done without, that didn't follow your life purpose. Now, in some ways, that's a bit of an inevitability because we're always growing and we're always making mistakes. One of those mistakes is how we're spending our time, and that's how we learn about that's how we learn what we want to do in the first place, is by doing a bunch of things that we don't want to do. That's how we learn how we want to spend our time. But yeah, I really don't think that if I had a second life that I would ever be totally okay with okay, now my life and my existence can come to an end. Of course, I don't know that, but I mean, so we have, if there's a benchmark for the ideal way to spend the average life expectancy of 80 years, right? Then we get to start over. Then all you'll do is just start a new expectancy of what you're supposed to accomplish at 160 years. You will always make some kind of standard, and your brain can probably get away from you and, make that standard too high. That's sort of a standard American materialist answer to the whole thing. It's I'm never going to be able to accomplish enough. No matter how many lives I have to live, I'm never going to be able to get enough things. I'm never going to be able to get enough power over people. I'm never going to be able to get enough intellect. I'm never going to be able to get enough ways that prove me to be the superior person in any situation to satisfy my ego. The ego will never, ever, ever have enough. But to get in touch with the richness of life, as the question asks, I think has nothing to do with time. I think it all has to do with that big A word, awareness. My mind went to a dirty old word. No, the awareness that we have at any given time is what puts us in touch with the richness of life. Not how long we have. It's not a matter of time. I mean, it is a matter of time in that, you need to learn the lessons to know that it benefits you to increase your awareness. But it's not locked on any sort of universal time frame. And in fact, part of the ways that you get in touch with the richness of life is to kind of take time off the table. Don't think too much one way or the other about yesterday or the future. And in that moment, at least, you're a little bit more in touch with the richness of life. Because you're not regretting something from the past. Or thinking about a time when things were so much better, artificially inflating the quality of your previous days. And you're not dreading something that might come around tomorrow. How many times have I done that? How many times have any of us done that? We're in a moment that's really happy for us, but we think, darn, this cannot last forever. And that automatically depletes a little bit of the satisfaction that we're having in that moment. It's unfortunate that that's a natural state that we can work away from. It's certainly possible. It doesn't have to be the case, but I think that is the natural state for most of us Homo sapiens. Is just being completely locked in where I am in the universal calendar, the universal schedule. But rather than beat yourself up about it, because that doesn't solve anything more than those other low ways of thinking that I was talking about just now, you just be here for a second, even if you can only do it for a second. Take a couple breaths and feel and listen and be like, hey, this is as high quality of a life as a person could live. Because lives, there's no ultimate hierarchy for them. This person had a better life than this person's. As long as you just hear. It would be awesome to have more lives so that I could cultivate more and more awareness, because it is something that's built up kind of like a muscle. But the more time, ironically, that I think about that and dwell on it, the less awareness I'm having. I'm becoming unaware because I'm frustrated by how unaware I am. But that's what's also beautiful, is that only you can take yourself out of that game of awareness. And only you can keep yourself in it. When in doubt, just be aware. And then, it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 more years, or if you have